The Gnostic Gospels, the Book of Thomas. To understand the Book of Thomas, one must first learn what the Gnostic Gospels are, where they came from, and what it means to practice Gnosticism. The word Gnostic is similar to the phrase know-it-all. This term was given to Gnostic gospel followers by other Christian denominations as a derogatory mean. Other Christian denominations tend to not respect Gnosticism as a denomination as they would a Baptist or a Lutheran. This is because Gnosticism rejects Jesus as a physical entity. The Gnostic Gospels are 13 leather-bound, handwritten books. This includes the Gospel of Thomas. They were discovered, or rather rediscovered, in Nag Hammadi, Egypt in December of 1945. Before this discovery, the Gospels were rumored to have been buried centuries earlier by Roman Emperor Constantine. He demanded omission of the Gospels from the New Testament. Many scholars actually believe the Gnostic Gospels have a more accurate historical telling of the story of Jesus Christ than the New Testament. So what does it mean to be a practicing Gnostic Christian? Leanne Binder is a practicing Gnostic and has agreed to answer that riveting question. Who are Gnostic Christians? Where do you learn how to follow your scriptures?
Well, Gnostic Christians are really anyone. We don't exactly learn to follow our scriptures. We're actually just seeking answers. We're seeking faith, seeking God or Jesus. Do you know anything about Judaism?
A little bit.
Well, in Judaism, they believe that in each generation there is someone that has the potential to be the next Messiah. That's kind of how I see it. Except I believe everyone has that potential. Not really to be the next Messiah, but everyone has God or Jesus within themselves. You just have to dig deep and find that faith. Do you understand? I mean, does that make sense to you?
So it's kind of similar to Buddhism, where they try to reach enlightenment?
That's the basic idea, but right there is where issues arise, though. I'm sure you already know Gnosticism is a very controversial religion. You've compared it to Buddhism. I compare it to Judaism. We all have our different beliefs. We are a Christian denomination. The similarities are what create a lot of drama.
Well, I can see that. What is the Gospel of Thomas, and who is Thomas? The Gospel of Thomas refers to Didymus Judas Thomas, one of Jesus' disciples. He was the apostle who refused to believe in Jesus' resurrection until he had seen it for himself. There are many theories on who Thomas the disciple was. Thomas can be translated to mean twin, and so can Didymus. This is interpreted by some that Thomas is Jesus' twin. Others believe Thomas may have been Jesus' son. None of the theories have been proven or disproven. The Gospel of Thomas contains dialogue, said to be from Jesus himself, making these writings significantly different from Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The Gospel begins, "These are the hidden words that the living Jesus spoke, and that Didymus Judas Thomas wrote down. And he said, whoever finds the meaning of these words will not taste death." Later in the Gospel, Thomas proclaims Jesus is not a living entity, but as a spirit that lives inside us all, the basic principle behind Gnosticism. As you discover the Gospel of Thomas, you see Thomas sees you and Jesus as identical. You are a child of God just as Jesus. The Gospel of Thomas and Gnosticism promote that to understand God and to reach your eternal faith, you need to first come to recognize yourself. What does the Gospel of Thomas mean by recognize yourself? It means you must have insight into your own identity, know yourself, and to know reality. When you reach your understanding of yourself, you will understand your morals, and you will reach your own personal faith. To reach that, it takes a long time of reading and pondering the Gospels. Elaine Pagel, a world-renowned ancient text expert who has studied the Gnosticism, explains their beliefs as Christians who saw themselves as not so much believers, but as seekers, people who seek for God. As Gnostic Christians seek God, they follow the Gospel of Thomas, or what is believed to be the direct words of Christ. Number 26 from the Gospel of Thomas. When you take the timber out of your own eye, then you will see well enough to remove the sliver from your friend's eye. Number 2 from the Gospel of Thomas. Those who seek should not stop seeking until they find. Number 42 from the Gospel of Thomas. If you don't bring forth what is inside you, what you don't bring forth will destroy you. These passages I have just read are said to be the direct words of Jesus Christ that Didymus Judas Thomas wrote down. The Gospel of Thomas presents Jesus as a spiritual guide whose words are said to, after a person understands, to bring eternal life or salvation. After understanding his words, you would become the ruler of your own life. You would know yourself, and finally, you would know your place as being a child of the living Father, just as Jesus. Achieving these goals allows you to enter the kingdom. The Gospel of Thomas emphasizes knowledge as the key to salvation. How does the Gospel of Thomas help us historically? Many scholars believe the Gospel of Thomas was written separately from the other disciples' Gospels, and therefore helps us as a historical guide. Many of the sayings of Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas are repeated in the Gospel of Hebrews, therefore providing more evidence that they are the real words of the historical Jesus, helping trace the story of Jesus Christ. After learning what Gnostic Christians practice and understanding the ideas in the Gospel of Thomas, one may compare the idea of a Messiah within to Judaism, and reaching out towards enlightenment to Buddhism. These concepts and similarities are the reason there is conflict and hatred aimed at the Gnostic Christian faith. If the Christian community accept Gnostic Christianity as a denomination, they would be opening the door to accepting the similarities Christianity shares with other worldly religions. In a politically religious world, that is unacceptable. The same goes for the acceptance of Gnostic Gospels, specifically the Gospel of Thomas, and Gnostic Christianity to other religions. The only real way to keep the hypothetical door shut is to shut out the religion threatening to destroy the divide in the religions. This invisible divide keeps religions separate from one another. There has always been the fear of combining religious ideas. If one were to accept that their religion is a combination of multiple religions, religious ideas or beliefs such as Gnosticism, they would almost be admitting that their religion is wrong, and no one likes to be wrong. Gnosticism is a religion that seeks knowledge. There is not a worry about what is right nor wrong, just seeking more knowledge. Since they embrace their ideas strong and are a Christian denomination, but follow the principle of a Messiah within as Judaism does, they are accepting Jewish beliefs. Since they are also seeking enlightenment, they are using ideas of Buddhism. With those walls torn down, it threatens each religion. The world religions may not be so different after all, from the view of the followers of the Gnostic Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas.